I'm about to show you the secret to like unlocking whatever you want. Because you need two things in life. One, action, right? I'm going to put this at the top here. And two, focus, okay? They both go hand in hand, and basically, action and focus are essentially what drives everything in life worth being driven about. Someone just texted me, probably watching this video, you know who you are. Anyway, back to my point. All you need to do is take action and focus. I'm going to use school as an example. It's very, very easy to use as an example, right? Let's say you have school here, okay, and you're going to go sit some exams, right? It's a good school, this. Got chimney coming out of it. You're going to go sit some exams. Why is my camera freezing up? Get a nice book drawn here. Cool. You probably can't sit down and focus on your revision. Focus on your work or whatever. Right? I'm gonna get the text box here and I'm gonna write a couple of things for me to remember later down this video. I'm going to be explaining these things. Okay. There's two things to remember that I need to explain to you. Anyway, back to the main topic. You can't basically sit down and revise. Maybe you're not getting as effective work done. Right? The way that you do this is by doing a couple things. They're going to come to my head as the video goes, but these two are very important. So let me explain this. Dopamine elimination. Essentially, how your brain works, as you all know, we've got something called dopamine, right? Just ignore this drawing of a brain. It's quite shit, but it's okay. What happens is, if you look in front of you at what you're watching this on, or just by you, because this is definitely near you, okay? That is one of the biggest distractions that you'll have right there in front of you. Now, so many people say, oh, just put your phone in a different room. It doesn't work like that, right? Biology will always beat willpower. You have to remember that. Remember that throughout this video. In fact, I'm going to write it here. Biology always beats willpower. Biology, willpower. We're just going to put will. Okay, we'll try power. You need to essentially focus more. And the reason you can't focus is because in your brain you have these dopamine receptors, right? And essentially what you're watching this video on is giving you quick hits of dopamine every single day. Now, we're all taught as a kid that drugs are bad. We're not taught as a kid that phones are awful. In fact, there's so many kids nowadays that have been put in front of a screen to basically make them shut the fuck up, right? To put it very straightforward, they've been made to shut up by putting a screen in front of them, which is detrimental, but that's a topic for another time. Essentially, every time you do something like scroll on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Reels, even like YouTube entertainment videos, so anything but this, you get a hit of dopamine. And there's a reason why I'd say probably 99% of the people haven't watched this far into the video, and if you have, well done. And that's because this is an extremely boring video, right? But it's boring, so you focus, and the people who watch this video to the end actually might have a chance of being successful with themselves. So, let me get to explaining. Every time you get a hit of dopamine, you essentially increase your tolerance, right? So, over time, your tolerance will increase and you will need more dopamine, right? As you can see by the graph. As your tolerance goes up, your dopamine will need to also go up in order for you to basically feel stimulated and happy. Okay? A massive reason you can't focus is because our brains will always, look, biology over willpower, chase things that will give us a quicker hit of dopamine, because we love dopamine as humans. Okay? So it might do all of the negative things just because it feels better. There was a study done on rats. It was wired to their brain, and every time they flicked a lever, a hit of dopamine would essentially hit them. However, they'd get shocked, right? They put the lever on this side of the cage, and they put food on this side of the cage. This is how scary this shit is. Genuinely, I hope this puts some fear in your head. The rat ended up starving and shocking itself to death because it wanted more dopamine. It didn't care about being in pain, and it didn't care about getting hurt. It just wanted more dopamine. It completely ignored what it needs to live in order to get more dopamine, and that's a rat. Our brains are a lot more complex than rats, okay? So naturally, a positive thing might be studying, alright? So study. Negative thing might be scrolling on TikTok, right? Because this activity here will give you a higher hit of dopamine and make you feel better, your brain, in its biology, will want to essentially scroll. And your willpower cannot overpower your biology. Have you ever scrolled on Instagram, you've went off your phone, you closed Instagram out, you go on your phone a second later, and you almost muscle memory just click on TikTok or Instagram, right? Your brain has quite literally muscle memoried itself and quite literally wired itself to automatically press on your phone so that you can get quick hits of dopamine. That's terrifying. You're like a rat if you do that, right? The point is, because this gives you so much dopamine, you miss out on the positive things that you can be doing. And this is why so many people fail, and this is with work as well, right? So many people don't understand how to weaponize their work. To love working, I love working. Working is literally my lifeline. I love training, I love getting better, and I love working, right? I don't play video games. I don't do all this other degenerate shit, okay? Because it don't get me nowhere. And I understand that this is better for me. And now this gives me more dopamine than sitting and scrolling. However, what I had to do to get here was extremely simple. I had to understand this concept as a whole first. And then you need to essentially eliminate, right? I'm going to free up some space here. You need to essentially eliminate all of the fast hitting dopamine kind of actions. Let me see. Okay, look. I had a list before that I wrote down just so I can remind myself. For example, yeah, TikTok, Instagram, talking about goals and aspirations, even that I've realised gives you quick hits of dopamine, okay? Because your subconscious can't tell the difference between what you're saying and reality. So that's why positive self-talk is very important, and being negative to yourself is extremely harmful to you. Anyway, a different topic, different day. Junk foods, nicotine, drinking, drugs, etc. Yeah? All of this gives you instant dopamine, buying designer, going on shopping sprees. All of that you essentially need to eliminate in order for you to reset your dopamine receptors. And why this is so important is because your brain will not need as much stimulation now. So therefore, you're less inclined to go on TikTok. You're less inclined to scroll on things more. Okay? So as you essentially get rid of all these, instant gratification, quick dopamine hits here, right? If you start to get rid of these, your brain will actually find doing the boring shit fun. Because now your dopamine tolerance isn't so high, yeah, you only need small actions to feel really good. And this is the biggest trap of society in today, is that people just can't control themselves, and they really just don't understand this concept, and it's why everyone stays in the same position they're in. The place that I'm in now, okay, If anyone's ever seen any of my videos or know me in real life, the only reason that I'm here now is because I understood these type of things. Anyway, cool. Look, I'm going to go over distraction tracking. This is extremely useful. I think it will be very valuable for some of you. What you need to do, one, you can do two things. One, yeah, you can get a piece of paper and set an alarm for every 30 minutes in your waking day. Every 30 minutes, this is what I do with work sometimes. Your alarm will go off, okay? You are going to write in like on a piece of paper in a notebook what you're actually doing right there and then, okay? What you've been doing that past 30 minutes. And the reason you're going to do that, especially for work, is because a lot of times on paper you're working, but if you're not doing something to drive the needle forward, to drive the money forward, you're not actually working, okay? Same goes with studying, okay? Let's say you're actually studying and you realise in that 30 minutes you might have gone on your phone a couple times, you might not have been studying the right thing, maybe you're studying something too easy you already understand, so it's useless revision. You then realise after you look back from these 30-minute time blocks that a lot of the stuff that you've done is just a complete waste of time, right? The second thing that you can do, which I'd advise, and Charlie Morgan spoke about this, is literally just get a piece of paper, right? Have a task you want to focus on, like revising or cold calling or getting work done in general, right? Have a pen and a piece of paper. Every time you get distracted with anything, write it down on the piece of paper, right? And then what you're going to do, I mean, like, even if you go to the toilet, look at your phone, anything that is not the work, you write it down, okay? What you do after is you look at the piece of paper, you look at the distractions, you figure out what are the highest priority, what's distracted you the most, and you try to eliminate that, okay? So let's say your messy desk distracted you from doing work, right? Always keep your desk tidy. Let's say your messy room stopped you from revising as effectively. Tidy your room up, right? Keep it tidy. You need to eliminate the distractions that you have. You go on your phone 5 times. Okay, phone in a different room, right? Why did you actually go on your phone? What did you do? Did you check Snapchat? Did you check Instagram? Did you check TikTok? If you check Snapchat, delete Snapchat. Like, if you actually want to do this shit, you need to go to almost what would be considered as extreme measures to people with fucked up dopamine receptors to fix this shit. Because you don't realise how bad it is. One time, I was in Nottingham, in a house, in an Airbnb that we were staying in with some of my boys, we were working. And I deleted TikTok and Instagram, and I had no contact with anyone for about a week. 2 days into that, I started questioning whether reality was even real. Because my head was so clear and empty, I'd look at a door cabinet and think, I wonder where, how and when that was made, and who made it, and who's the person that owns the factory that makes it. Your head is so clear and so present in the moment once you start to get rid of all of the noise in your life. I'm telling you right now, this is one of the best things you can do for yourself. It's something I've also just implemented so that I can focus better. I've deleted all my socials. I've got it on the phone that I'm recording on now, right? That's connected up to my PC. Because obviously I kind of network and I speak to people on socials. But I don't need it on my main phone. And I don't go on that phone that much. Point being is you need to start getting rid of distractions and then track your distractions. Another massive thing is your eating. And I know it sounds really dumb, but let me explain this. You need to eliminate all seed oils, right? So rapeseed oil, coconut oils, any kind of oils, you need to get rid of them, okay? You need to eat non-processed meat, so meat from butchers. Not meat from Tesco, not meat from anywhere else, meat from the butchers. And and then you only eat fruit. So sugar, no, right? No junk food, sugar, only fruit and meat. I'd also go as far as to say like fish as well, because fish is actually quite good for you. Salmon has a lot of good effects on the brain. These are the main sources of food that I eat. Okay, sometimes I'll eat a couple carbs, maybe I'll eat a pizza once every now and then, but my point is that when you eat right, the energy you have, people tell me I'm on crack, right? When I'm training, I never gas out in sparring. I don't really gas out on pads, and I'm just extremely resilient because I have energy. I don't smoke weed, I don't drink, right? I don't eat bullshit. You'll see the difference when you stop eating junk food and all this dopamine junkie processed shit, and you start eating clean. You will feel such clarity in your head. Another thing you can do is start taking supplements, creatine. Okay, that's gonna boost. I think it's called DHT, something like dimethyl testosterone or something. Search it up. It's basically 5 times stronger than your free testosterone. And it's just how you basically spike it up. Creatine, tonka ali, right? It's going to increase it. And cordyceps. I don't know how to spell cordyceps, but that's okay. This is all going to increase your test, increase your focus, and it's just going to make you extremely dialed in. And you just can't, you won't get distracted, I'm telling you now. So look, this is some of like the main things. It's quite a brief video, to be honest. I could probably go more in depth, but I guess I'll save that for future coaching clients and such. Look, I've not gatekeeped a lot. I've been extremely open and honest. This is genuinely how you succeed. You need to lower your dopamine levels. In another video, I'll be going into actually how to reprogram your video game addiction and go into depth more. But just remember, biology will always overpower your willpower. So instead of thinking like, oh, I'm just not going to go on TikTok, I'm going to be just fine. That's what you quite literally have muscle memory to click on TikTok. Okay, like you can't overpower your biology. So the best thing to do is just eliminate it all, right? Even your environments. Like, I could go so deep into this, and I went into it on my last video, I believe, about your environment and your friends and all of this shit. But this is solely focused on lowering your dopamine ceiling and essentially just allowing yourself to have a reset so that you can focus and take more action better.